Mugabe de Ouagadougou entre confection et pose de pavés, dessin et arts plastiques, éducation civique et militaire, plantation d'arbres et apprentissage de savoir-vivre en société. Les résultats sont époustouflants selon le coordinateur national de l'initiative présidentielle Faso Mebo. Le président du Faso a livré un message aux campeurs du camp vacances Faso Mebo que nous vous invitons à écouter.
Camarades campeurs, this is Traore's bonjour. Je suis très ému ce matin de vous voir et de comprendre qu'en 10 jours, vous avez appris beaucoup de valeurs civiques, patriotiques et militaires. Félicitations à vous. Je suis très content que vous ayez pu prendre 10 jours de vos vacances, d'apprendre quelque chose de pratique et aussi des valeurs. C'est très important pour nous et je peux vous dire que vous êtes la première promotion d'une petite partie d'un large programme qui doit bientôt intéresser tout notre système éducatif. Et nous espérons que l'année prochaine, nous pourrons commencer ce programme. Il est très important pour nous de vous préparer. Vous êtes l'avenir de notre nation. Aujourd'hui, le Burkina est en guerre, mais la guerre finira bientôt et c'est vous qui bâtirez notre pays. Personne ne viendra d'ailleurs pour le bâtir. C'est à vous, c'est votre responsabilité de construire le pays. Et il fallait qu'on vous prépare dès maintenant. Il est d'autant vrai que notre devoir est de vous voir grandir dans de très bonnes conditions, que vous puissiez manger à votre faim, que vous puissiez étudier convenablement dans un environnement sain et sécurisé, mais aussi l'impérieux pour nous de vous préparer à ce que vous ne soyez pas des hommes faibles demain. Parce que si vous êtes dans l'opulence et que vous ne comprenez pas les réalités de la vie, vous pourrez être des hommes faibles et les hommes faibles créent forcément des temps de guerre encore. Nous ne souhaitons pas ça pour vous et voilà pourquoi nous devons vous préparer à affronter la vie. La vie n'est pas chaque fois rose. Vous avez appris beaucoup de choses là-bas. S'asseoir par terre, manger avec vos camarades, c'est deux valeurs importantes que vous apprenez. La solidarité, mais aussi l'humilité. Et ça compte beaucoup dans votre vie. Aujourd'hui, vous avez pu vivre ensemble pendant ces 10 jours. Vous avez appris à être solidaire. Et c'est tout ce qu'on demande pour un Burkinabé. L'intégrité, la solidarité fait aussi partie. Si vous n'êtes pas solidaire avec vos camarades, vous n'êtes pas aussi intègre. Donc apprenez toujours à être solidaire, à partager et à aimer votre prochain. C'est dans l'amour, dans l'union que nous pourrons construire notre Burkina Faso. Et j'espère que vous avez très bien appris cela au cours de votre camp de 10 jours. Très content pour vous. Je souhaiterais aussi que vous compreniez que vous avez appris là-bas qu'on ne fait pas toujours ce qu'on veut. Tout se fait dans la discipline, n'est-ce pas? Si vous devez faire ou dire ce que vous voulez, sans tenir compte de celui qui est à côté de vous, je ne pense pas que vous pourrez être ensemble. Donc vivre en société, c'est tenir compte toujours du voisin, tenir compte de celui qui est à côté de vous et ne pas faire ou dire ce qu'on veut, soit disant qu'on est libre. Ça, ce n'est pas une vie en société. Ça ébranle totalement notre vie de cohésion sociale. Donc tout ce que vous voulez faire, vous devez tenir compte des autres. Vous ne faites pas seulement ce qui vous plaît et ce qui ne tient qu'à votre propre personne. Vous devez toujours agir en tenant compte des autres. Et je suppose que cette valeur, vous l'avez aussi inculquée. En tout cas, je tenais à vous féliciter et dire merci à tous les encadreurs, à tous ceux qui ont contribué à ce que ce soit une réalité. Comme je dis, vous êtes la première promotion, ça va se répéter dans d'autres villes, mais surtout se généraliser à travers le pays, s'il plaît à Dieu, dans un an. Et c'est tout notre souhait. Gardez en tête ces valeurs, partagez cela avec vos camarades à la rentrée, et déjà pendant les vacances, vous devez partager certaines valeurs avec vos camarades. Et nous espérons compter sur vous, que demain, si cette instruction vous retrouve dans vos écoles, que vous devrez être aussi parmi l'encadrement pour aider les encadreurs qui vous ont aidé aujourd'hui à atteindre ce niveau-là. Merci, félicitations à tous. Et je prie Dieu que vous passiez de très bonnes vacances, que vous retrouvez les bancs en bonne santé et que vous puissiez participer à la construction de notre patrie. OK? La patrie ou la mort? La patrie ou la mort? La patrie ou la mort? Merci camarades et très bonne journée à vous.
Africa. Families, friends, fellow Africans. That is President Ibrahim Traore speaking with this youth, as you can see, while other African leaders are in Yokohama, Japan, to seek investors, trying to ask for help. Captain Ibrahim Traore is in Ouagadougou meeting with these youth, telling them that they can become the investors in their own resources. Captain Ibrahim Traore, he didn't end it to these youth, these primary and kindergarten schools students. He went also to university students. And here is what Captain Ibrahim Traore said when he speak with is spoken with these university students. Let us now go and hear what this brave and visionary leader of Burkina Faso said. Of course, the language is French. I'm sorry for that, because as Africans, we don't have a common language. We are stealing borrowing languages from others. And of course, we're still using our colonial master languages. So let us now dive into what Captain Ibrahim Traore has told African university students in Ouagadougou. So here is what Captain Ibrahim Traore said.
Pour que nous puissions vivre, pour que les enfants du pays puissent connaître la paix. Rendons donc hommage à nos vaillants combattants FDS et VDP qui sont actuellement au front et qui continuent de tenir bon face à l'impérialisme et toutes ces manifestations. Je voudrais que nous prenions une minute pour prier pour eux, pour que Dieu les protège. Je vous remercie. Cette journée est particulière, certes, et elle doit nous appeler à plus de responsabilités, plus de patriotisme, plus d'amour pour chacun d'entre nous.
Of course, we know there's a language barrier, but what Captain Ibrahim Traore told these African youth, especially university students, is that they need to take responsibilities of building their nation and making sure that Burkina Faso is going to prosper in their hands. Captain Ibrahim Traore spoken about the issue of fighting against imperialism, that Burkina Faso right now is under attack from terrorists and also from jihadists, but these youth, they have to join the struggle of liberating Burkina Faso. And liberation is not about fighting. Liberation is also about emancipation of mental slavery. Captain Ibrahim Traore said, as Africans, especially youth, they can be good engineers, they can become good investors, doctors, and he asked one thing that we see others succeeded to have good engineers, good doctors, but they didn't get teachers from the heaven, or God didn't send good things to them. But what they did is by creating something many times. And Captain Ibrahim Traore encouraged youth of Burkina Faso also to act and to apply the ideas in solving challenges. That's what Captain Ibrahim Traore has insisted. He's spoken to revolutionize education that produces innovators and patriotic persons. On the issue of stopping imports, Captain Ibrahim Traore said that from now, Burkina Faso is not going to import bicycle. That if we cannot create a small thing like bicycle, we have to continue to use donkey or to use traditional ways of traveling, because if these small things we cannot manufacture, what about a great thing? So families, let us give a space to those who understand France to hear.
Souveraineté, je dirais. Puisque l'endogénéité, le développement endogène dont nous parlons, c'est de la souveraineté. Ces deux mots et ces deux termes sont très importants. Commençons par l'engagement patriotique. Aujourd'hui, vous êtes les meilleurs élèves du Burkina Faso. Et je souhaite que vous compreniez que certains d'entre vous auront peut-être des bourses pour aller à l'extérieur continuer les études. D'autres continueront ici. Mais pour votre engagement, pour votre patrie, il faudrait qu'à partir de maintenant, vous n'ayez pas de bourse pour aller servir d'autres pays. Vous devez revenir servir votre patrie, peu importe la situation. Certes, on pourrait dire hier qu'on ne s'intéressait pas beaucoup à nos élites, mais je crois que par devoir de patriotisme, vous devrez revenir et servir votre pays. Ce n'est pas parce qu'ailleurs on vous propose de meilleurs salaires, de meilleures conditions de vie, que vous devrez abandonner votre patrie. Personne ne viendra changer le Burkina Faso à votre place. Donc peu importe où vous irez, si vous avez de la connaissance, revenez servir votre pays. Nous réunirons les conditions aussi pour que les conditions qu'on vous propose ailleurs, pour que vous les ayez ici et pouvoir donner du sien pour que les membres de vos familles, vos proches, vos compatriotes puissent bénéficier du fruit de votre intelligence. Cela fait partie de l'engagement patriotique. Au-delà de tout ça, vous devez être engagé, fermement engagé à défendre la cause de votre patrie, à être de bons citoyens, à donner l'exemple partout où vous irez, que ce soit au Burkina ou ailleurs. Vous devrez pouvoir vous identifier parce que vous êtes burkinabé. Et vous devez vous identifier par des valeurs positives. C'est ça aussi l'engagement, donner l'image.
Yes, yes. What Captain Ibrahim Traore is insisting to these youth and these university students is for them to be patriotic and to stop being used by imperialistic. And of course, we know that Africans is being destroyed by, Africa is being destroyed by Africans. Africans are being used by imperialists, by exploiters to destroy the continent. So Captain Ibrahim Traore is insisting and telling these university students that they have responsibilities and duty to defend Burkina Faso, to develop Burkina Faso. This message is not for only Burkina Faso or Burkinabe people. This is for the entire continent of Africa. Because what is happening in Burkina Faso is also happening to other African nations. And that's why in many of his talking, Captain Ibrahim Traore is insisting patriotism. If we become patriotic, we cannot betray our nations. We cannot betray our nation. Captain Ibrahim Traore insisting that these university students, they have to focus on education, and after finishing their education studies, they have to come back and work for the nation of Burkina Faso. It is shameful for a continent with all resources and yet is a begging continent. How is it possible that the continent with all resources, continent with everything, and yet is look like a begging continent? It doesn't make sense. This generation cannot understand how is it possible that a continent with everything blessed but is still called a poorest and begging continent. But the youth of Burkina Faso can change in narratives. The youth of Africa can change in narratives, can change the stories. If you go out, the image of Africa is a continent that is affected by conflict, diseases, affected by angers, but it's not true. There's some places where Africans are living like in the even, but because the stories are being told by other people, that's why you see our stories are being told by other people. And develop our nations. So families, we are trying to express the main concept that Captain Ibrahim Traore is speaking about. We cannot translate every word. We are trying to give the concept and the meaning of what Captain Ibrahim Traore is saying. He's speaking in French. I know to those who are English speakers cannot understand well, but all in all, what Captain Ibrahim Traore is insisting is for young Burkinabe to contribute in national building, defending their nations, protecting their nation. To those who have been claiming that Captain Ibrahim Traore and Burkina Faso is mistreating children, I think they are being shocked by what is happening in Burkina Faso. They don't want to see the spirit of Pan-Africanism being spread to youth. They want Africans to remain in the dark ages. They don't want information about this continent to spread across African youth because they want to use African youth for manipulation, for destroying the image of Africa. All youth must understand the true history of Africa, of Burkina Faso, must understand where they came from, where they are, and where they want to go. If we know where we came from, where we are, and where we want to go, we can unite and achieve our goals. That's what Captain Ibrahim Traore is insisting on. Yes, I see um, friends, brothers and sisters here commenting on the issue of returning back home. I have a good news to you that um, this October, African diaspora through ADDI are coming back home to Burkina Faso. So you can go to, you can contact Mama Alkana Chiombole Kwao, Dr. Alkana, about the trip of coming back home to Burkina Faso. This is the trip, not just coming as a visitor or coming home as a tourist. Our brothers and sisters in the diaspora are coming to join revolution, to come and support Captain Ibrahim Traore in national building. And there's a plan for African diaspora to build a railway that will connect Bamako, Ouagadougou to Niamey. That will be a starting point. And if African diaspora can achieve to construct and build that railway, I think it will be an historical event to see that our brothers and sisters in the diaspora have succeeded to contribute by building railway that will connect the three countries, Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. So if you are in the diaspora, you can contact Mama Alkana Chiombole Kwao and ADDI to see how you can join them to come back home in Burkina Faso. So this October, African diaspora will be in Ouagadougou in Burkina Faso to join revolution, to support this visionary leader. Because what Captain Ibrahim Traore is doing here is awakening and changing the minds of Africans, telling them that we Africans also, we can lead ourselves, we can change our lives, and we can contribute to our nations. If we can develop, we can be engineers. What he's saying here is that if others have succeeded to build and construct things, why not Africans? Why not Burkina? You see, he's speaking with these African young people. You know, you can see the difference. While other Africans are speaking with, they call investors, other people, Captain Ibrahim Traore is going direct to African youth who have a long lifetime. This, if you speak with these young people and telling them what they need to do when they've grown up and take over, maybe take offices, become leaders, they can know what they want to do and what they have to do. That's what Captain Ibrahim Traore is doing. I've been saying that, you see, they enjoy. And I will share in this live stream, I will share a video from other leaders who are in Japan. You will see the difference. We need to induce and to tell our youth what they're supposed to do. what Captain Ibrahim Traore is saying and insisting. What as youth we need to do, what young people are supposed to do, and the responsibilities of elders. Revolution is not about fighting, it is about minds. Should not be manipulated by the internet. To Africans, brothers and sisters in the diaspora, those who want to come back home, Africa is your home. Don't be afraid. We have some politicians, and that's why I'm saying to those who want to go back home in Burkina, uh, Mama Kana Chimboy has opened a room with Captain Ibrahim Traore for African diaspora to come back home. So don't be afraid to come back home. Africa is our home. We need to build our nations. We need to build our continent. We need to come back home. And I think tomorrow I will share a video from Professor Pilo Lumumba speaking with diaspora. And that's something that all of us, we need to hear. Um, Families in this platform, there's something that tomorrow I will share in this platform from Professor Pilo Lumumba. You'll be shocked. You'll be shocked when he was speaking with African diaspora, and he spoken many good things that I think African diaspora, African descents, Africans in the continent, they need to know and to understand. Politicians are looking for money to our brothers and sisters in the diaspora instead of looking them as partners and children of Africa. Some of them, they're fearing the issue of how coming, maybe they feel that some people come to contest. So I will share. New program is coming in Burkina Faso to enable Africans to create their own things. Who help the others to develop? We can also develop our own thing. We can develop our own thing. Burkina Faso can do it. To those who thought Burkina Faso cannot do, he thanks university leaders, professors, students who participated in this occasion. Continue the fight. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, that is Captain Ibrahim Traore. So let us now share African leaders who were in TICAD 9 in Japan. Of course, I shared live streaming for 2 days ago from our leaders who were in Japan, in Yokohama, sharing thoughts, ideas with um, Japanese investors. But we heard also from Captain Ibrahim. So let us now move on and hear the vision and views of African leaders concerning about development of this continent. I have said that while Captain Ibrahim Traore focusing on creating new investors, new innovators, other leaders are asking and calling investors from somewhere else. While Africans, we can focus on building and supporting our own entrepreneurs, investors. So let us hear what African leaders have spoken in Yokohama, Japan.
Has been introduced to 200 cities in 47 countries. We will promote infrastructure development and other initiatives by collaborating with international organizations. It is also important to ensure preparedness for diseases which have been increasing due to climate change. Japan will help Africa prepare for disasters by collaborating with international organizations and using AI, satellite monitoring, and other technologies. In the following discussion, I hope that you will have an active exchange and ideas on human resources development and other forms of investment in people, empowerment of women and youth, and on measures to achieve the SDGs based on the human security principles, including those for health and disaster risk reduction. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Co-Chair. Mr. Shu is Acting Administrator and Associate Administrator of UNDP. That is a co-organizer of TICAD 9. He will now deliver a speech. You have the floor.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, President of Ghana, Your Excellency, Mr. Kishida, former Prime Minister of Japan, my fellow co-organizers, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. Africa is at the epicenter of remarkable progress, which is home to 12 of the 20 fastest growing economies globally. Yet, at the current pace of progress, Africa will not reach the Sustainable Development Goals by 2030. Spending on health averages just 7% of national budgets, is less than half of the 15% targets. More than 4 in 5 workers in Africa are in informal jobs, making it harder for families to escape poverty. Africa can overcome these challenges and unlock its full potential, but it will require bold, coordinated action across the continent. This means aligning planning, financing, and the governance across the continent in every country. This also requires a systems change approach that can effectively tackle complex and interconnected challenges. This means also directing financing, technology, and skills where they are needed the most and when they deliver the greatest benefits. With our partners, UNDP is supporting African countries in accomplishing just these very goals. Consider our innovative community development model, PUDC, PDL. It is active in countries such as Senegal and the Democratic Republic of Congo. It facilitates a clear goal, investing in important areas such as health and schools that boost human security. Notably, it is largely funded by domestic resources with accountable systems in partnership with the UNDP. And through boosting access to key areas like clean water and electricity, we have helped lift 50 million people out of multidimensional poverty since 2015, all done under the African national leadership. TICAD is uniquely positioned to help scale and this and the other and the numerous successful examples by aligning actions with SDGs, strengthening our capacities that promote effective, accountable, and inclusive institutions. We can unlock the potential, achieve our goals. So, turning today's progress into lasting transformation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shu, UNDP's Acting Administrator and Associate Administrator. Next, I would give the floor to Mr. Diagana, who's the Regional Vice President, Western and Central Africa of the World Bank, and that is another co-organizer of TICAD 9. Mr. Diagana, you have the floor.
Thanks very much, Your Excellency John Dramani Mahama, President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency Mr. Kishida Fumio, representative of the government of Japan, former Prime Minister of Japan, His Excellency Mr. Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, African Union Commission Chairman, His Excellency Mr. Aoling Shu, and the Secretary General, UNDP Acting Administrator, Excellencies, Head of the Delegation, representative of international organization and the regional organization, ladies and gentlemen. Africa is at a turning point. With a rapidly growing youth population, we must invest in people to unlock the continent's full potential. This means prioritizing education, health, and job creation as pillar of inclusive and sustainable development. First, we must address the education and skills gap. Across Africa, over 12 million young people enter the labor force each year, yet only a fraction find formal employment. In West and Central Africa, for example, over 6 million youth enter the labor market annually, with just 500,000 formal jobs created. Vocational training and digital skills are essential to bridge this divide. Today, less than 2% of youth participate in technical vocational education and training programs, far below the global average. The World Bank is scaling up support for programs that align training with market need, and investing in digital skills that could unlock over 230 million jobs by 2030. Second, job must be central to our strategy. We are pursuing a three-part approach: investing in infrastructure, health and education to lay the groundwork for employment, supporting governance reforms to create a predictable business environment, and mobilizing private capital to stimulate entrepreneurship and labor demand. In Senegal, our Jobs and Economic Transformation Program has already created over 21,000 jobs and is expanding. Third, we must strengthen health system and improve access to clean water and sanitation. These are not just social priorities, they are economic imperatives. Poor health and lack of clean water undermine productivity and resilience. The World Bank is supporting climate-resilient infrastructure projects like the Luanda Beta Water Supply Initiative in Angola, which mobilized nearly $1 billion to expand access. Fourth, sustainable financing is critical. To improve skills, health, and infrastructure, massive investment are needed. This will require a combination of strategies, including one, raising domestic revenue, including tax reform to increase fiscal space. Two, debt management, including restructuring and reduction where necessary. Third, creative financing mechanisms such as private sector investment, public-private partnerships, debt for development swap, diaspora bond, green bond, etc., etc. Many countries in our regions operate below the 15% tax to GDP threshold needed for fiscal sustainability. Through targeted reform, countries like Nigeria have increased VAT collection by over 1% of GDP. Côte d'Ivoire debt for education swap saved 330 million euro while boosting education investment. Finally, we must embrace inclusive, people-centered strategies. Co-creation, working hand in hand with youth, women, and communities, ensures that solutions are grounded in local realities and shared ownership. Aligning national development plan with global sustainability goals will help ensure no country is left behind. Let's commit to empowering Africa and its youth with the tools, opportunities, and services they need to lead the continent transformation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Diagana, Regional Vice President, Western and Central Africa of the World Bank. Next, I respectfully invite His Excellency Dr. William Samuel Ruto, President of Kenya, and the champion of institutional reforms of the African Union, to make remarks from the perspective of the African Union. You have the floor.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my singular honor to address this distinguished forum of 9th Tokyo International Conference on Africa Development here in this historic and vibrant city of Yokohama. Over the years, TICAD has remained faithful to its founding principles of African ownership, inclusivity, openness, and genuine partnership. We commend the government of Japan and the co-organizers for sustaining this unique framework. Kenya deeply values Japan's consistent support in critical sectors: education, health, agriculture, energy, infrastructure, and security. These partnerships have been central to Africa's socio-economic progress. Excellencies, even amid relentless and overlapping global crises, Africa's economies are among the fastest growing in the world. In 2025, Sub-Saharan Africa's GDP is projected to grow at 4% compared to a global average of 3%. Yet, These impressive numbers have not sufficiently translated into meaningful poverty reduction, substantive employment creation, or enhanced fiscal space for domestic resource mobilization. This is why the theme of TICAD 9, to co-create innovative solutions with Africa, is both timely and fitting. It reminds us that growth must be translated into real impact on people's lives, moving from macroeconomic numbers to grassroots transformation. Excellencies, resilient, adaptive, and inclusive societies form the foundation of Africa's transformation. The societal pillar challenges us to invest deliberately in people, including their health, education, and their well-being. Only then can Africa unlock its vast potential through holistic human capital development. Africa is richly endowed with natural resources and a youthful population of nearly 400 million, bursting with energy, creativity, and innovation. Yet, systemic social challenges persist. To close this gap, we must champion programs aligned with global, regional, and national priorities, but tailored to build inclusive and resilient societies that leave nobody behind. In Kenya, for example, we are implementing the bottom-up economic transformation agenda anchored on building a fair and inclusive society where every citizen has a stake in our nation's progress. By expanding opportunities, enhancing access to services, and empowering communities at the grassroots, we are bridging divides and ensuring prosperity is shared equitably. Ladies and gentlemen, shared prosperity is the tide that lifts all of society. Africa's urgent challenge is to accelerate the pace of inclusive wealth creation, to eliminate poverty, create jobs, and restore dignity. This requires correcting the entrenched imbalance in global trade, where Africa exports raw materials and imports finished goods at a premium, a structure that locks our people out of opportunity and stifles our industrialization aspirations. Partners like Japan can help remedy this skew by investing in local manufacturing and industrialization, supporting local agricultural value chains, and financing renewable energy systems to power industry. Africa has abundant resources, land, minerals, renewable energy, and a young tech-savvy workforce. By adding value to what we produce, whether it is coffee, tea, minerals, textiles, or services, we build industries, create local wealth, and therefore empower our citizens. This is how Africa stops being the world's supplier of unprocessed raw materials and extractives and becomes a global hub of high-value production, innovation, and prosperity. Excellencies, the COVID-19 pandemic exposed the fragility of economies without robust health systems. That is why, over the past year, Kenya has embarked on reforms directed towards attaining universal health coverage by strengthening primary health care, prioritizing prevention, upgrading infrastructure, training personnel, and securing vaccines, diagnostics, and medicines, all funded through locally mobilized resources. In less than a year, over 25 million Kenyans have registered with the Social Health Authority, up from about 8 million under the former scheme. Millions of families can now seek quality medical care without impediment, either due to lack of access or prohibitive costs. Yet these robust health systems demand significant resources to actualize. We welcome Japan's support through contributions to the Global Fund, training facilities, and the Africa Vaccine Manufacturing Accelerator. These interventions must be scaled up to guarantee universal access across Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, the fourth industrial revolution is reshaping economies. Education and research must therefore form Africa's response, equipping our young people to seize opportunities in artificial intelligence, biotechnology, robotics, and digital innovation. We were told yesterday by the Secretary General of the UN that AI must now mean Africa included. We appreciate collaborative initiatives to promote science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. We call for scaling up exchanges under the Africa Business Education Initiative, the Timbuktu Initiative, the African Youth Program 2025, and joint research linkages between Japan and African countries. Excellencies, Africa contributes barely 4% of global emissions, yet suffers disproportionately from climate change. Addressing this injustice requires equitable climate finance, predictable support for adaptation and mitigation, and urgent implementation. We urge Japan to champion climate justice and advance this agenda at COP30. We welcome Japan's pledge and commitment to support UN reforms, including expanding the Security Council to grant Africa permanent representation as an act of natural justice. The quest for peace in Africa is inseparable from the demand for equity in global finance, both at the security level and at the financial level. We look forward to progress being made under the UNDP Initiative later this year. I thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, President Ruto, for that insightful commentary. I'd now like to ask Co-Chair Mr. Kishida to take over the proceedings. Kishida-san.
Thank you very much, Co-Chair Mahama. We now would like to open the floor to our participants. As in previous plenary sessions, if you wish to speak, please press the button on the microphone on the desk at your seats to indicate your intention to make a statement. Once you are called on to speak, please do so using the microphones at your seats. To ensure we hear from as many participants as possible, we kindly request that all speakers limit their statement to a maximum of 4 minutes. The microphone will be automatically switched off when the time arrives. So now I would like to open the floor for requests to speak. Those who have made a request to speak, but there is no microphone for you to speak, please stand the country tag. And if there is no country name tag, please raise your hand. Our staff member will come to you. Those of you from Africa, and also members of the international organization and others, we kindly ask you, if you have a request to speak, please do so. So, we are seeing a number of requests to speak. Let me call upon Comoros. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak. Co-chairs, ladies and gentlemen, heads of states, heads of delegations, guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great honor to be able to speak at the plenary session 3, which is to build a resilient society in Africa. aspirational and sustainable challenge must be taken on. Sustainable future must be built through investing in people. Africa is a young continent. There's a lot of energy. There's a lot of talent. Capacity building, youth and women must be empowered, which is at the core of our strategy. And that is something that will build an inclusive society. Local talent should be tapped into to unlock the potential of the youth. Sustainable future requires education and capacity building. Innovation and creativity are also indispensable. Cultural exchange, arts, and entrepreneurs to be supported. And the society will be revamped. Solidarity and social justice are also important to make social services sustainable. We must take action. Progress must be equal to all. Health is also an important factor. Universal health coverage, UHC, must be ensured, and access to clean water, access to sewage, and preventing illness. That leads to dignity. Comprehensive and inclusive education must be at the foundation. All children must have access to education, science, technology, and research, and education must be our focus. STEM education is critical as well. Social resilience is needed because that is something that will protect our people, and disaster risk prevention is also necessary. And this is something that will emerge out of solidarity and dialogue with Africa and its partners. Through innovation, we want to leave a better society to the next generation, to our future. And therefore, our commitment must be turned to action. That is what TICAD is. Let's turn culture into solidarity. So human rights, environment, healthcare, education. And that will lead to a sustainable future for Africa. With a strong partnership with Japan, this, I think, will be possible. Thank you very much for your kind attention. President Azari, thank you very much. Lesotho, please.
Co-chairs, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I am privileged to speak before this distinguished assembly as we focus on the society pillar, a fundamental element for the sustainable progress of our cherished continent. The emphasis on human security, education and health aligns closely with Lesotho's national development goals and our aspiration for a society that is both inclusive and resilient. While Lesotho is a country marked by strength and perseverance, we face numerous complex challenges. Youth unemployment is an urgent issue, significant enough for my government to declare a state of emergency. Additionally, climate change impacts, inadequate infrastructure, and limited access to quality health and education services hinder the full potential of our people. The society pillar rightly reminds us that the foundation of sustainable development is the well-being of citizens. It is essential that economic advancement result in real improvement in education quality, accessible health care, gender equality, and social protection. We urge our international partners, including Japan, to collaborate with us in investing in digital infrastructure, enhancing health systems, fostering youth entrepreneurship, and bolstering social safety nets. Such efforts are crucial for closing disparities and unlocking opportunities across Africa. Furthermore, we must recognize the critical role of labor migration in driving economic growth and fostering social development. By facilitating safe and regular migration, we can harness the skills and talents of our youth, both at home and abroad. To this end, we call upon our partners to invest in sectors that prioritize job creation, particularly in agriculture, renewable energy, and technology. This investment will not only empower our workforce, but also contribute to the overall stability and prosperity of our communities, ensuring that every individual has the opportunity to thrive in a dignified and fulfilling manner. Lesotho family supports the society pillar of TICAD 9 as a vital pathway towards building robust, healthy, and inclusive African society. Together, let us promote human security and social progress as essential foundations for the continent's sustainable future. I thank you.
Thank you very much. And next is Tanzania.
Co-chairs, Excellencies, heads of state and government, Excellencies, heads of delegation, ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to address this distinguished summit under the timely theme, Society Realizing a Sustainable Future. A sustainable future is not an abstract, it is a collective responsibility to protect our environment, empower our people, and build resilient economies that serve both present and future generations, as we are all connected. As African Union members guided by the Agenda 2063, aspiration number 1 for a prosperous Africa based on inclusive growth and sustainable development, we have made notable progress in addressing the challenges of limited access to essential services and basic necessities for our people. Excellencies, United Republic of Tanzania firmly believes in people-centered approach to building sustainable society in which no one is left behind and all citizens have access to essential services. In line with our Tanzania Development Vision 2050, which was recently launched in July this year, we will continue to work closely with the East African Community, SADC, AU, and our development partners, including and specifically Japan, to advance human resource development and creative industries, universal health coverage, access to electricity and renewable energy, food security, access to clean water and sanitation, reliable infrastructure, youth vocational training and employment, and digital transformation for inclusive growth, all while safeguarding and planning for our natural resources. To achieve these goals, we value Japan's long-standing partnership and propose further collaboration in main 3 key areas. Number 1 is the health sector. We commend Japan's leadership in global health and its collaboration with African countries and the Global Fund in fighting infectious diseases such as HIV, tuberculosis, and malaria, and as well as strengthening health systems. Tanzania calls for continued Japanese support to the Global Fund's 8th replenishment. We also stress the importance of achieving universal health coverage by addressing social, environmental, and economic determinants of health, increasing domestic health financing, and adopting a health in all policies approach. We propose partnership in combating antimicrobial resistance, expanding rehabilitative, palliative, and geriatric care, investing in laboratories and diagnostics, disease surveillance and supply chains, harnessing digital health and AI, which is Africa included, in service delivery, and implementing national health adaptation plans to address climate-sensitive diseases. Second is the energy sector. We seek Japan's support for the World Bank's and ADB's Mission 300, providing electricity access to 300 million Africans by 2030, as endorsed in the Dar es Salaam Declaration. We also propose cooperation in e-mobility, clean energy in transport, and the promotion of clean cooking technologies to protect our environment and improve our rural livelihoods. United Republic of Tanzania has already started championing this under the leadership of Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, President of the United Republic of Tanzania. And number 3 is the disaster preparedness. Tanzania calls for stronger collaboration to enhance disaster preparedness and build climate-resilient infrastructure. I thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much. Ethiopia, please.
Thank you, co-chairs, chairperson of the African Union, distinguished heads of delegations. It is an honor to address this distinguished gathering of TICAD 9, a vital platform for fostering sustainable development and meaningful partnership across Africa. Ethiopia remains committed to people-centered development approach prioritizing health, education, environmental sustainability, and cultural exchange as the foundation for resilient and thriving communities. We believe that investing in human capital, especially among our youth, is essential. With over 60% of Africa's population under the age of 25, empowering this generation is critical for shaping the continent's future. Africa's demographic potential must be harnessed through education, training, and skills development. TICAD's focus in this regard aligns perfectly with our aspirations. Ethiopia's experience with the Kaizen philosophy, introduced in 2009, is a testament to how structured capacity building can transform productivity across public and private sectors. The TICAD Kaizen Center in Ethiopia now serves as a hub for disseminating these practices continent-wide. We extend our sincere appreciation to the government of Japan for investments like the ABE program, which support training and human resource development. However, to better meet Africa's development needs, training must address current skills gaps and be aligned with industrial priorities. We emphasize the importance of technical and vocational education, especially in health, ICT, and engineering. Enhanced university partnerships and expanded scholarship opportunities will be vital. In health, we are grateful for ongoing support to expand access to services, including mobile clinics and vaccine programs. Yet, more targeted assistance is needed to strengthen health extension services and improve preparedness for future pandemics. Africa's youth and women are increasingly driving innovation, particularly through digital solutions to social challenges. Supporting startups and entrepreneurship, especially those addressing critical issues like health, can generate sustainable development outcomes. On climate change, Africa, despite its minimal contribution to global emissions of greenhouse gases, bears a disproportionate burden. Ethiopia, affected by recurrent droughts, has taken proactive steps through our Green Legacy initiatives by planting billions of trees. We urge TICAD partners to prioritize practical local-driven climate actions and provide sustained financial and technical support for such efforts. In conclusion, as global progress toward the SDGs and Agenda 2063 faces growing challenges, especially in financing, Africa calls for bold, innovative funding mechanisms and reforms to the global financial system. We believe TICAD must continue evolving into a platform for equitable and effective partnership grounded in mutual benefit and shared responsibility. I thank you.
Thank you very much for your statement. And today, not only African states